That's ridiculous.
The dressmaker.
And you agreed to do the job.
I did.
Well, that's also ridiculous.
And the prom she'll never forget.
This is clearly you in the prom dress.
It wasn't finished.
What do you mean it wasn't finished?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Denise McDaniel is suing dress designer Faith Taylor for ruining her daughter's prom. Denise claims Faith made her daughter a shoddy dress.
Order. All rise. This case number 196 on the calendar in the matter of McDaniel versus Taylor.
Thanks, Bert.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Miss McDaniel, you have a daughter. I assume that this is
Yes.
the young lady who had a prom. And at some point, you contracted with Miss Taylor to make a prom dress for your daughter.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons, you think that you're entitled not only your money back for the prom dress, but also for all kinds of aggravation because your daughter didn't have a good time at the prom.
Yes.
All right, well, that's not going to happen. But let's talk about the prom dress. First, let's get the date of the prom.
May 5th.
Well ahead in time, so that your daughter was advised that the prom was in the middle of May, probably the first week in school in September. That a fair statement?
Yes.
Great. So you knew for 8 months that prom was May 15th. When did you contact the defendant about making the dress?
May 6th.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Can I give you the reason for that?
Yes, I want to hear the reason. This program lasts for a half hour, so I have to hear the reason. I don't care what the reason is, it's still ridiculous. You know, if you want custom-made clothes, and on May the 6th, you contact the person who you want to make the dress, I think that that's ridiculous. So now you can tell me, because
I
this
understand why you think it's ridiculous, Your Honor. I'm a nurse by trade, and this young lady's mother was one of my good friends, so I wanted to give her an opportunity to make Cheyenne a dress.
Oh.
A young lady that just graduated.
Somebody else having nothing to do with the defendant.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
All right, so you gave somebody else an opportunity that didn't work out.
Yes.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
I don't care. That's your problem.
Right.
That's your problem, because there are stores from here to Sacramento and from Sacramento to Boston, ready-made prom dresses. But if you decide to have yours custom-made, giving somebody no notice and retaining them on May the 6th for a May 15th prom is pretty ridiculous. That being said, she contacted you on May 6th?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you agreed to do the job?
I did.
Well, that's also ridiculous. And when did you agree to have the dress ready?
Your Honor, I did tell her when she gave me the order placement, I told her within 7 days I would get the dress done. I said, it's going to be a rush job, but I will do it. And
within
I will, 7
days?
Yes, and I told her, I said, this is a huge challenge, but I will do my best, and I will have this dress ready on that Friday, which was the 14th, the Thursday or the Friday, and I did deliver.
On what date did you deliver the dress?
On the 14th.
And the prom was on the 15th?
Yes. I'm sorry, I delivered on the 13th, that Friday.
To whom?
To Cheyenne's mother. I met them at the dock, and she was able to wear that dress. I went
Just
on the...
a second.
Yes.
So you're telling me that you delivered the dress 2 days before the prom?
No, the day of the prom.
Oh, well,
I'm getting my dates wrong
well,
here. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Sorry.
The prom dress on the 13th or the 15th?
The 15th.
That's unsatisfactory. What time did you deliver the dress on the 15th?
I delivered the dress about 10 till 5, and I told her, Your Honor, I would be running late.
That's also not her problem. It's yours. So you didn't keep your part of the bargain, which was to deliver it in a timely fashion. Now, you say that Miss McDaniel's daughter wore the dress to the prom.
Yes, she did, Your Honor. I have pictures.
I'd like to see the pictures, because certainly if she wore the dress to the prom, then she used it for the purpose that it was made.
Yes.
Could you stand up, please?
Yes.
This is clearly you in the prom dress.
Yes.
Where is this?
That's at prom on the dock before we got on the yacht.
So this was at the dock.
Yes.
Where did you change to get into this dress?
Inside the bus.
Inside the bus?
Yes.
The limo.
The limo, or the bus limo. It was a party bus.
Okay. So she didn't deliver it to the house.
No.
What did you wear in the limo?
A black dress.
Okay.
And-
This is not show and tell. I know what a black dress looks on the dock.
Yes.
You changed into it and took these photographs.
Yes.
And then you boarded the yacht.
Yes.
What did you wear on the yacht?
The white dress.
So you wore the white dress to the
Yes.
party.
Yes.
And then what happened?
I wore it the whole night at prom.
And then?
And I took it off and we put it aside so that it can be finished.
What do you mean it wasn't finished?
There was supposed to be lace on both sides. One of the arms weren't finished. It was supposed to be lace here. The lace was falling off. We had laces. I had to take laces off during the prom while I was dancing. The laces were falling off. The lace in the back was never there. And
So is what you're telling me, when you returned this dress to Miss Taylor, you're telling me that she finished it before she brought it to court today?
yes.
I think that that's probably true.
May I make a statement, Your Honor?
Well, Miss Taylor, one of the sleeves doesn't have lace on it.
That's right, and I can attest to that.
No, you don't have to attest to that. One of the sleeves in
Absolutely.
the photograph doesn't have lace on
Up
it.
to the-
Shh, just a second.
Okay.
But on both of these sleeves, you have lace now.
Uh-huh.
So you altered it to bring it to court.
They asked me to do that.
When did they ask you?
When they brought the dress to me, her mother pointed out that this sleeve on the left side does not have the lace. And I said, you know what? During fitting time, you told me that you did not like. With my rendition, I put lace on one side, and may I go over to this here? And I put lace up until this point and left this empty from this down.
That's ridiculous.
That was my
That's your,
version.
that's your rendition.
That was my rendition of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Okay,
and
how
they
much did
wore
you
it.
pay for the dress?
$700.
Well, that's also ridiculous. But listen, you wore the dress to the prom.
Yes.
And did you take pictures?
No, I didn't get to take...
No, at the prom.
Oh, professional, sorry.
At the prom, did you
Oh.
take pictures?
No.
There were no pictures? Nobody took pictures of
No.
dancing on the yacht or
No.
anything else?
No, I didn't want
Really?
to. It wasn't finished, and I wasn't happy, so...
Well, you look perfectly happy with it over here.
Well, because I had to smile to,
Yeah,
you know...
okay. Okay, A, you wore the dress
Yeah.
to the prom. That was its designed intention. It was incomplete. That's clear. So you're entitled to some money back, but you did, in fact, wear it. If you had worn the black dress to the prom and said to her, this is an incomplete dress, I'm not wearing it, give it back to her, you would have gotten all your money back. But you wore it.
Your Honor, she took pictures in the black dress. The limo was $598. She took pictures in the black dress in the limo. She didn't have the dress at the champagne party. She couldn't step out of the limo.
God. What went on the 6th of May because you made a mistake?
No.
You hired somebody to make a dress and they say, listen, this is going to be down to the wire push. I have less than a week to make this happen. I'm going to do my best and I'll get it to you by prom.
She did
By the
not
prom.
say that.
She said she can do it.
She's
That
the
is-
Otherwise, she didn't say
person.
she didn't listen. If she didn't say she could do it, you wouldn't have given her the money.
Right.
If she said I can't do it, you will say here's $700 anyway.
She wanted all the money before the dress was finished. We
Judgment
have
for the
texts of
plaintiff
that.
in the amount of $200. That's all. Thank you.
So
paid
we don't get the
$700?
dress, too?
Yes, you own the dress.
Your Honor, may I
Just a
say
second. No, you can't say anything. You own the dress. The dress is yours. You bought it instead of for $700 because it wasn't delivered finished and it wasn't delivered really on time, so she missed a few pictures. You're entitled to be partially compensated, but you're not entitled to eat the steak and then not pay for it. If you chose not to take the dress and wear it, you would have gotten your money back if it wasn't finished. You chose to wear it. You get $200. That's it. Not the limo, not pain and suffering, not harassment, not nothing. It's your dress. You bought it for $500.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
You know how you have to have the prom experience? I didn't get that because it came late.
When I delivered that dress to the dock, to the marina, I was on time.
Had what they had,
I ran up on the party bus with the little girl and her mother.
and I was put to the dust because I didn't get what I wanted.
She turned into almost a Cinderella. She loved that dress.
I kind of messed up my day, but,
And it's a beautiful dress, and I hope they enjoy it.
you know, it was okay. It wasn't bad.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Tillman versus Adams. Step forward.
Felicia Tillman is suing Danae Adams for the value of designer clothes she sold on consignment.
I'm going to start with you, Miss Adams. You have a little side job, and that sideline is selling things on consignment on the internet?
Correct.
What's your full-time job?
That is my job. I'm unemployed at this right now.
Well, what about last year? Were you working last year?
No.
What about the year before that?
No.
Who do you live with?
Myself.
You have your own apartment.
I do.
So you make a living from selling things?
Yes.
How much did you make last year from selling the items that you took in on consignment?
Maybe 20 grand.
What is your commission on the items that you sell? What is the split?
60-40. I get 60%.
And that's in the paperwork that you give to the people who bring you their things on consignment?
Yes, that's in the consignment agreement, policy, and available online.
Great. I would like you to, when Miss Tillman brought you over items to sell, what items you took in from her, I'd like to see the paperwork. So you brought in 3 pairs of shoes, a belt, a jacket, and a patent something.
4 pairs of shoes that were Gucci patent kitten heels.
Okay. Now, when had you purchased the 4 Gucci items?
3 of them were purchased in September
I'd like to
of
see
last year, or August
I'd like
or
to see the
September.
receipts. You brought these things into her in January.
That is correct.
I'm going to ask you a very silly question. Could you explain to me why you bought all of these things and within a couple of months you brought them to consignment?
Well,
No. And you have to understand me. I've been around the block a lot. I know all kinds of scams.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Where's her stuff?
The unsold items were donated to charity.
You're a liar. You didn't take any of these. Let's come up with another answer.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Felicia Tillman says Danae Adams owes for the value of designer clothes she sold on consignment.
I know the women who have all the credit cards they can use, but their husbands say, but you get no cash. So they buy a lot of merchandise and then they sell it wholesale. I know all the stories. There are a million stories. I've heard them all. So I want you to tell me a story that I believe. Why someone in October buys Gucci shoes, Gucci belt, Ferragamo shoes, Cavuto heel, and then within 8 weeks gives them to consignment. Explain it.
Okay. I'm single, so I don't have the husband problem, Your Honor, but
No, just explain it to me.
bought the things, and then I had buyer's remorse. And also, I knew that I was going to school. I've been a civil engineer for 18 years and have purchased whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. And then I knew that the end of my job was coming. So what I did was started selling my items to fund my PhD. I'm now in school, and my whole purpose for going into my closet and selling items was to make this act.
Personally in January?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
You remember that you saw her personally in January?
Yes.
Because it's unusual that somebody has practically brand new stuff that they can't return anymore. It's too late to return it, but it's practically brand new. What did she tell you she was selling the items for?
She did actually express pretty much what she just said in terms of her education and that, you know, she needed the money. And at the time, she actually gave me a goal amount that she was trying to get to.
And what was the goal amount?
It was in high thousands. She said that she had spoken with a financial advisor to tell her how much she needed to make. And, you know, at that time is when I expressed, you know, definitely with my experience in the business, if I didn't sell it myself, I have third-party resources to be able to sell those items for her and help her towards her goal.
Where's her stuff?
The unsold items were donated to charity.
You're a liar.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you give her the money?
I did not.
Why not?
Given the opportunities and money, given hardship.
Just a second. You've given me now double talk. So let's start all over again. Do a windshield wiper on your brain.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Felicia, value of designer clothes she sold on consignment.
This is all new stuff. You didn't donate new stuff to charity.
I said the unsold items were.
I said this was all new stuff. You did not donate new stuff to charity. When you have a business and you have no other source of income and your business is $20,000 a year, you didn't take any of these things that were brand new and donate them to charity. So let's come up with another answer.
There were only 2 items that were donated.
Well, what'd you do with the rest?
They were sold.
Did you give her the money?
I did not.
Aha. Why not?
Given the opportunities that I gave to her to extend money, given hardships.
Yeah, but just a second. You're giving me now double talk.
Okay.
So let's start all over again. Do a windshield wiper on your brain.
Okay.
Let's say you sold 4 items.
Yes.
And you have that in your book, what 4 items you sold.
Yes.
Show me.
I have 2.
Well, you just said you sold 6 items.
If I may, what that is a executed report of all items had they been sold. So that shows...
I just want to know what you sold.
Everything that's on that with asterisks are the items that were sold and the selling price and the date.
Do you have any other paperwork from her?
I have text message 7th. I just told her I was checking in. How are things going? This is the 40-day mark.
How much were you expecting to get from this stuff?
Oh, I was expecting to get thousands.
So far, what she sold your stuff for about $500.
I don't
I see
it.
a nylon Gucci windbreaker she sold for $204.
And that was a brand new jacket that I paid almost $600 for.
That's what happens when you sell things to consignment. Unless you gave her a bottom figure. Did you give her a bottom figure in your contract?
It wasn't written in the contract, but as she said, I did tell her what my goal was.
I don't care what your goal is. Is it written in the contract? Either you sell it for this or I want it back.
Yes. No, not sell it for this or I want it back.
Okay.
Just sell it or I want it back. And she told me that she knew celebrities, and so she could really get high
what she told
prices.
you. That's puffing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
There's only one egg that just tastes better, with more vitamins and less saturated fat. Only Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
After a stressful day, you may need a little help falling asleep. Try new Unisom Sleep Minis to get a good night's sleep and wake recharged. Unisom Sleep Minis. A stressful day deserves a restful night.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
She sold your stuff for $646. These items. Bird, would you please show these to the plaintiff? Now you're going to explain to me why she didn't get her money.
Well, there is no really excuse for it.
Fine. Can I see your contract with her, please? No, just your contract with her.
It's on the top.
You mean this thing?
That's what she gave me.
Okay, but that's all you had?
Yes.
Okay. Now, would you look here and tell me what it is that there are only 4 items listed here? What 2 items are not listed there?
Okay. So it looks like she did not sell the Vince Camuto heels, and she did not sell
You paid in October, the end of October, you paid $442 for those. What else?
She didn't sell the Vince Camuto heels, and it looks like she didn't sell the Gucci patent heels.
Did you get a receipt for the items that you gave to charity?
I do not.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $800. That's all. Thank you.
Others are excused. You may step out.
And on the next Judge Judy.
A believable defense from a backyard pit bull breeder?
I gave you a chance to tell your fairy tale. Now I'm speaking. Your neighbor says that your 2 dogs were there and both off the leash.
Next Judge Judy.
I told her my circumstances and what was going on.
Well, she said that her son was really sick, touch and go.
I confided in her as someone that I could trust.
Had to move from state to state to hospitals.
Wanted to establish a friendship with her beyond the business.
And then my friend told me she didn't even have a son.
And the fact that she says I don't have a son, I do. I have 2 children.
Get a better contract. Make sure you understand everything about the contract.
And all of that I expressed to her and explained to her.
And probably do your homework and get references on the person.
In hopes that we could rectify or resolve this outside of court.
insisted on fixing it because it was a Lexus.
Worked over by this mechanic.
You paid him thousands of dollars to fix a car that you paid $1,500 for. How much did she pay you altogether?
$1,700.
Time for an overhaul by the judge.
Where is the car?
It's in my driveway, Your Honor, under a tarp.
At 1850, you should be reported to the Better Business Bureau.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy. 25-year-old Angela Gebelon is suing auto mechanic Jeffrey Plekunis for the return of money she paid for repairs, tow fees, and the cost of a diagnostic report.
Order. All rise. It's case number 312 on the calendar in the matter of Gebelon versus Plekunis.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Ms. Gebelon, would you please tell Officer Byrd what kind of 1997 Lexus you have so he can look it up in his book?
ES300.
And when and from whom did you purchase it?
I purchased it in November from...
November of last year?
2014. From George's Foreign Auto Care.
And you have a bill of sale for it?
I don't. I have the title.
I know you have the title. How much did you pay for it in 2014?
$1,500.
Then why in the world would you spend $5,000 to fix it?
It wasn't supposed to be $5,000, Your Honor.
I don't care if it's supposed to, because that's what this is about. You say you paid him for. He has an equally ridiculous counterclaim because he says not only did you pay him money, but you owe him another $4,000.
That's not how much it is, Your Honor. That's not how much she owes me, Your Honor.
$3,850 is what you say here.
That's also for the countersuit of her harassing me and everybody else around me.
Listen, I get regularly harassed. How much do you claim she owes you in addition to what she paid you?
She owes me, Your Honor, another $1,350 for the work that was done to the car.
$1,350 in addition. And how much did she pay you altogether?
$1,700, Your Honor.
What year is it again?
It's in 1997.
1997. That she paid $1,500 for in November of 2014.
The person that sold her the...
Hey, listen to me. I didn't ask you anything.
Y'all waiting on me?
Yeah. We are. 1997 Lexus 300 ES.
1997.
300.
1,800.
$1,800. Thank you. So let's understand each other. Unless this car does something really terrific, I don't see spending $1,500 for a car that wasn't running because you had it towed.
No, it was running, Your Honor, for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks?
Perfectly.
So it was not running. So you paid $1,500, then it stopped running, so you didn't cut your losses. You decided to spend, according to you, an extra $1,700 to fix it. He says, well, when I started taking it apart, I noticed there were all kinds of other things that were wrong with it. She paid me $1,700, and she still didn't get a car back that was drivable. When she drove the car out, Mr. Plekunis, did she drive it out on her own steam, or did it have to be towed?
From my place? Yes. She drove it out on her own. She didn't give me enough time to test drive the car, make sure everything was good. She came directly there with her daughter, took the car, drove it home. I followed her across town just to make sure everything was all right because we didn't even have a chance to...
That's a month later.
I didn't have the money to get it towed, Your Honor. Because I gave him all my money.
No.
It was sitting in my parking lot for...
I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that. You have your phone with you?
I do.
Great. I want to see a phone call that you made, go back into your records, that you made to Mr. Plekunis on April 14th.
I have the text messages,
telling
Your
him
Honor.
On what date?
April 14th.
I'd like to see.
You know?
I would make sure that you go with somebody that really knows what they're talking about.
She knew all along that the car needed so much work.
A male figure, preferably, because I was vulnerable.
And because it was a Lexus, they wanted to keep putting the money in it.
And I had no idea anything about cars.
Because it's a name brand thing, right?
Just happy this is over with, and I can just junk the car.
It is what it is. She bought a lemon, and she wanted to pin it on anybody she could.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Huff versus Sanche Bonet. Step forward.
Kyle Huff is suing his ex-girlfriend, Sarah Sanch-Bonet, for the cost of an iPhone and a plane ticket to Austin.
Mr. Huff, where did you meet the defendant?
I met her in Los Angeles at a steakhouse.
At the bar?
I was at the bar. I go out by myself. I travel a lot. I'm on the road. Like every week I'm in a different city.
Where is your home?
I live in Las Vegas.
And where do you live?
I live in Los Angeles.
This is what the case is about. It's a relatively simple case. Mr. Huff, you purchased several things in a very short period of time after having met the defendant, who clearly you were smitten with.
Yes.
The first thing that you purchased for her was an iPhone.
Yes.
And that was clearly a gift.
Yes.
And you purchased that on
September 14th.
And on what date is your birthday?
My birthday is August 4th.
So you knew her a month.
Yeah.
And you sent her the iPhone because she had a different kind of phone. You wanted to be able to communicate with her on FaceTime. I don't know. I don't care.
I want to FaceTime her, basically.
You bought it for her as a gift. And did you mail it to her?
No, she was in person with me when I purchased it.
Okay, and you gave it to her?
Yes.
And then the next level of iPhone came out. And on what date was that?
September 25th.
And you bought her one of those?
I bought two for myself, and I didn't know what storage size I wanted. I had like a 64 gig and 128.
I don't care.
Yeah,
you bought one for her.
Yeah.
On September 25th. And you are suing her not for the upgraded model, but for the first one that you bought for her, because it is your claim that she was supposed to return that one for a restocking fee.
She was just supposed to return it.
But she had used it already.
Yeah, but they had a return policy.
I don't know that.
Yeah,
do you have that in writing someplace? That after you use it and put your phone numbers in it and everything else, you could just take it back and say, I don't want it anymore?
That's generally everybody's return policy.
What?
In retail.
Oh, I don't know that.
Well.
I'm not in retail, and that's your burden.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you tell him you were going to pay him for the ticket?
Absolutely not.
I'm going to just dismiss your whole case because you're annoying. Your vibe was probably a good one.
And later today...
How old are you?
Me, I'm 54.
Why would you ask your daughter to give you money to buy a car, to help you? That's not the way it works. It trickles down.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kyle Huff says ex-girlfriend Sarah Sanch-Bonet owes for the cost of an iPhone and a plane ticket to Austin.
So right now you bought her two phones.
Correct.
What did you do, by the way, with the first phone?
Your Honor,
is not an answer. What did you do with the first phone?
I returned the phone.
You returned it? And where did you have them credit the amount of that phone?
It's back to his credit card, and I've given him the reference number several times.
Where's the receipt?
Great. Just a second. Can I see that, please?
Absolutely.
With my credit card number.
Here you are, Your Honor.
May I see it? Do you have your wallet?
Yes.
Take out your Visa.
Oh, no, I don't, actually. I put it in my bag. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have a bank statement, so.
Well, your bank statement wouldn't necessarily reflect that at this time because it's less than a month.
I just took it out.
And you're telling, great, then we're finished with the iPhone. The next thing that you're suing her for is a plane ticket. You purchased two plane tickets. They were gifts, clearly gifts to her. After she got, according to what I read, she said, I didn't get a great feeling, and I didn't want to take the second trip with Mr. Huff, and I told him. When did you tell him you didn't want to take the second trip with him?
I told him 2 weeks before the trip that I felt uncomfortable and that he had enough time to return the flight, at which point he told me he could no longer get a refund and to go ahead and use the flight.
That's a lie. I told you October 4th. You broke up with me October 4th.
Don't talk to her. That's not what you're here for.
She broke up with me October 4th. I have text messages of the breakup. You know, I asked her why, because I felt like she was going to break up before that.
I don't care.
Okay.
The airline ticket clearly was a gift to her.
To come visit me, come hang out with me.
That's okay, but it was clearly a gift to her.
She told me she was going to pay me back, though. I sent her text messages. Okay.
Just a second. I would like to see proof that she said she was going to pay you back for the airline ticket.
I called her after the initial text message, so.
Well, did you tell him you were going to pay him for the ticket?
Absolutely not. I told him he had time to return it because I didn't feel like...
Well, then let me ask you this question. Where was the trip supposed to be?
Austin, Texas.
Is that where he was going to be?
Yes.
Why'd you still take the flight?
I'm going to just dismiss your whole case because you're annoying. Your vibe was probably...
In a moment. And later today...
We both lived in Florida for quite a few months, and I had her daughter the whole time except for 4 days.
What does that have to do with a down payment on a car?
cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kyle Huff says ex-girlfriend Sarah Sanche Bonet owes for the cost of an iPhone and a plane ticket to Austin.
Who do you know in Austin, Texas?
I didn't know anyone there.
So what did you do with the ticket?
I had already taken time off work, and he told me to use the ticket, so I just kind of explored on
What
my
did
own.
you do in Austin, Texas?
Took a tour, went bar hopping, just kind of had a mini vacation.
How much was the ticket?
$201.20.
Anything else? Perfect. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $201. That wasn't the arrangement. The arrangement was you're supposed to go to Austin, Texas with him. If you said, I don't want to go to Austin, Texas with you, and I'm not going to go to Austin, Texas, that's one thing. I would have said, listen, that was your choice. You paid for these tickets. She didn't want to go. She's under no obligation to go. But you can't go bar hopping on your nickel. I think that that's unreasonable. You understand that, right? $201. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Really from him.
After she got the phone, 2 days after she got the phone.
Give up my life here and accommodate to his plan.
Yeah, and took the trip too.
I'm just glad it only took 2 months for me to realize that.
You gotta watch out because some people will do anything for an iPhone.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Chavez versus Walker. Step forward.
23-year-old Haley Chavez is suing her mother, Barbara Walker, for illegally repossessing her car. She is suing for the return of the down payment.
Ms. Chavez, this is your mother.
Yes.
And a year or so ago, you wanted to purchase a car. You didn't have good credit. You had saved the down payment. How much had you saved?
$1,500.
So according to your complaint, you asked your mother if she would put the car in her name. She had better credit?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of work do you do?
Housekeeping.
And you?
I'm a server.
Your daughter gave you the down payment for the car.
Yes.
And then something happened, and you had an argument with her, and she had been living with you.
Yes, she had.
When your mother lived with you, who paid the rent?
I did.
What did your mother contribute?
Nothing.
Why?
Because I didn't ask her to.
How long did she live with you and contribute nothing?
About a month.
What was the argument about?
I had a friend of mine use the car, and she got mad about that because he wasn't on the insurance, but the car, because the car was fully covered.
But that's what the argument was about?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
So she left and she took the car?
Yeah.
And you want your down payment back?
Yes, ma'am.
She gave me the down payment to help me, and I don't feel it's ridiculous that a 19-year-old was driving the car. He's not responsible. If it would have got wrecked...
How old are you?
Me, I'm 54.
Why would you ask your daughter to give you money to buy a car to help you?
Because I've taken...
Children, that's not the way it works.
I've taken
trickles
care of
down.
her daughter. We both lived in Florida for quite a few months, and I had her daughter the whole time except for 4 days.
What does that have to do with a down payment on a car?
Because I needed help, and she tried to help me. There was no, you're going to give me the money back. She did it out of the goodness of her
you're
heart.
not following, my dear. There was no discussion about getting the money back. It was the clear understanding that it was her car.
It's in my name. I have all the paperwork.
I don't care if it's in your name. The clear understanding was it was her car. And if she had bad credit, who was making the payments on the car?
I made the payments on the car.
Purchased it.
Oh.
So I didn't have the chance to make a payment.
Is that correct that you took the car a week after you purchased? You have to give her back the $1,500 she put into the car. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
I stomped on the brake, but it was not the brake. It was the accelerator, so it just slammed into the house.
In my opinion, she sounded extremely intoxicated.
Next, Judge Judy.
I think it was the right decision.
She let a 15 or 19-year-old drive the car.
Because it's only fair that I got the money back.
He wasn't on the insurance, and 19-year-olds are irresponsible drivers.
That I spent on that car.
I went off on her.
Whatever happened to that car, I would pay for it.
Because she took me to court.
Extremely difficult.
For me and her to mend everything.
I
saw 2 pit bulls running towards us from this house right here. The bigger pit bull went for my dog's throat.
A believable defense from a backyard pit bull breeder.
We get stopped by her dog. Her dog starts barking. She lost control of her dog.
That's not true.
Her dog bit my
fairy tale. Now I'm speaking.
Has a bone to pick.
Your neighbor says that your 2 dogs were there and both off the leash.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. 22-year-old Andy Tran and her father, Ted, are suing 19-year-old Ahmad Shahab for vet bills after his pit bulls attacked Andy's German Shepherd.
Order. All rise. It's case number 320 on the calendar in the matter of Tran versus Shahab.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Who was walking the dog?
I was.
You have a German Shepherd?
Yes.
And you were walking the dog near your home?
Yeah, I was walking him down that street.
Would you go over to the...
I was walking him down this street, and when I was about to cross the crosswalk, and then I saw 2 pit bulls running towards us from this house right here.
From that house?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen those 2 dogs before?
No.
How long have you lived in your house?
For as long as I can remember, really.
And how far away is your house?
It's the next street over.
So you were about to cross Celeste Court?
Yeah.
And you're the cul-de-sac?
Mm-hmm.
And you saw 2 dogs?
Yes.
Describe them to me.
2 tan pit bulls, off leash, no collar.
One of them is not.
Don't speak. You'll have your turn.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they were charging at us, you know, and the bigger pit bull went for my dog's throat. And while that was happening, I saw 2 males running towards us, telling us to stop, telling them to stop and everything. And
were either one of, you can step back now, were either one of the 2 men who came running towards you the defendant?
Yes.
Who was with him?
Another male, I think it was his brother or something.
Okay. Mr. Shabab, do you live in that house?
Yes, I do.
How long have you lived there?
I've been living there for most of my life, since I was 4 years old.
Now, whose dogs are these?
Well...
No, don't look down. Okay. I'm asking you a question. Who is the owner of the dogs?
That'll be me.
Both dogs?
Yes.
When did you purchase them?
I didn't purchase them. Someone had gave away the dogs because they didn't have room for it, so I took...
This incident happened on May 28th. Who gave you the dogs? The name of the person?
I don't recall the person's name. However, I came over there with a friend to pick up. They had a bunch of puppies. He took most of the puppies to sell them, and I took him so I can keep him.
You took who so you could keep him?
The dog.
Dog is a full-grown dog or is a puppy?
No, he was a little puppy. He was only like
puppy.
5 weeks old.
When did you get him?
I got him about last year, around March.
Who does the other dog belong to?
That's his son, and he's blonde.
So you bred a dog and you kept a pick of litter?
Yes.
With what other dog?
His wife. Well, the other dog we own. We just consider his wife.
How many pit bulls do you have?
Well, right now they just had more kids.
Would you tell me how many pit bulls you have?
Currently?
Currently.
Okay, well, right now I have 9.
9?
Yeah, well, 6 of them are babies. They're like this small right now.
And 3 adults?
Well, the other one, he's not even a year old yet.
Okay, continue.
So I was walking my dog down the street.
I got it. His 2 dogs came out of his house. Mm-hmm. You say that they were unleashed and came running towards your dog, took your dog by the throat. The defendant and 1 other male came out running from the house, telling him to stop.
Yeah. Okay. By that time, my dog had wiggled out of the throat, the bite on his throat, and the pit bull got him at his stomach, and his jaw really locked in there. So I didn't want to pull my dog away because I didn't want to worsen his injuries. And then finally, you know, the defendant got his dog off my dog, and I was...
How did he do that?
From what I remember, he was like punching him and hitting him, telling him to stop and get off and everything.
True.
But it wasn't working until like he finally pulled him off.
What was the other person doing?
I think he was holding back the other dog. It was really a blur. Like he was making sure the other dog didn't get involved.
So it was just 1 dog that got involved?
Yeah.
And what color was that dog?
I guess blonde by what he's telling me.
No, not you guess from what he's telling you. Do you remember what color the dog was that attacked your dog?
The one that attacked my dog was tan.
So the other dog didn't attack your dog?
No.
Okay. Did you take your dog to the vet?
Yeah, I ran immediately home, called my dad, let him know what happened, and rushed my dog to the vet.
Okay. Now I'd like to see the vet bill. And photographs of the dog. And I'd like you to go back one more time and show me exactly where the attack took place.
So I was walking my dog down this street, and we stopped right here. There was a fire hydrant right here. And then I saw the two dogs running from this house across the street, and they attacked my dog.
Okay, sir, now I'm going to listen to your version of the events.
Okay, well, on May 28th, I walked my dog at 10 a.m., and as I'm coming home, which is that court right there, we get stopped by her dog. Her dog starts barking. She lost control of her dog.
That's not true.
Her dog ran towards my dog, and she bit my dog in the face. And as I'm pulling my dog, after the incident, she runs off with the dog. I wanted her name, her vet, to pay off my vet bill as well, and her number, but she just ran off. But as I'm going to work, then she comes at my door, and she says, was that your dog? I said, yes, that was my dog. And she said, well, you're going to have to pay for my vet bill. And I said, well, you, likewise, you have to do the same. And later that day, instead of getting a call from her or she coming back again, this animal control officer comes at my door. He picks up whatever statement I had said. He said later that day...
Don't tell me what he said.
Okay.
Was your dog quarantined?
Yes, for 10 days.
Did you get a fine?
Yes, I did. I have the bill right here.
I'd like to see the fine and what the fine was for.
Also, the vet bills is on this as well.
No, I want to see the fine. What were you fined for?
I was fined because, okay, well, yeah, this one, that's the receipt. All right. So what happened?
What were you fined for?
Okay, because the officer, he comes in, he takes the pictures of my dog's injuries.
I just want to ask you what you were fined for.
Okay, he took her side of the story, and he fined me instead of her. Mm-hmm. As you can see on the bill, I went to the vet the next day to reimburse my dog. And the strange thing is, when he came at my door, he took pictures of my dog's injuries, which I have right here injured. I haven't heard from him. And then 5 days later, he comes at my door, and he harasses me.
File a complaint. That has nothing to do with me. Would you please show me the ticket that you paid?
That's the one right there, the quarantine bill. It's all I paid. And as you can see, licensed quarantine.
Okay. Now I'd like to see pictures of your dog.
You need the injuries as well?
I want to see pictures of the injury.
Okay. Right here.
Who was with you that day?
Okay, well, that day...
Who was with you that day?
My brother.
Where is he?
He's in Afghanistan. He's with the rest of my family because of my sister's wedding.
Okay. Now, is the animal control officer that he's referring to related to you?
No.
And who did you call, the police?
I went to the police department, and they dispatched him.
Did you file a report, and do you have a copy of that report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. Do you have a copy of your police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it.
Right here.
Well, your neighbor says that your two dogs were there and both off the list. Yeah, what? That's what your neighbor told the police. And you told the police that there was only one dog that you were walking.
Yeah,
this neighbor says that there were 3 dogs fighting near the fire hydrant. I'm speaking.
Okay.
That's why they gave you a ticket, and that's why they quarantined your dog. The witness, who's your neighbor, said she went to her front window and saw that there were 3 dogs out fighting near a fire hydrant at the intersection of Regents and Celeste Court. Stated a female was holding her German Shepherd on the leash, and the other 2 dogs were tan pit bulls. She saw that the 2 tan pit bulls did not have a leash on them, and that 2 males ran after them and pulled them back home. She stated it looked like the big pit bull was the aggressive one. Okay, and then the police officer went back to you.
Yeah, 5 days later.
I'm speaking. I gave you a chance to tell your fairy tale. Now I'm speaking.
No.
Then the next day, the officer went back and spoke to you and said, well, I have your neighbor who's a witness who said that your 2 dogs were out there. And then you said, I spoke to the subject who recanted his previous statement and provided me with a new statement.
Okay,
he stated that on 5/28 at 1100 hours, he was walking his dog Yabu on a leash. He said when he got to the front of his house, he let go of his dog and went to get food for his dog. And he said that Yabu, and you go on.
Yabu? I mean,
Yaboo.
Your Honor?
Yeah.
Okay, 5 days later, the police comes in at the door. He said, tell me the real story of what happened.
Give me the real story. Well, your neighbor told you the real story. Your neighbor told the police the real story.
Okay, well, where's my neighbor?
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,009.
And what about my countersuit, ma'am?
It's dismissed. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They were not out of my control until her dog got out of control.
Very frightening. I thought that I was going to get attacked, you know.
They were on a leash, but this officer insisted I was lying.
I've never heard my dog cry like that or even cower like that before.
The officer took her side and they quarantined us and fined us $132.
Sure, other dog owners know, like, your dog is like your baby, you know, and having my baby being attacked like that.
You gotta just next time watch out for people like her dog.
It hurt me so much. I couldn't stop crying.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bradburn versus Allen. Step forward.
Kenneth Bradburn is suing his ex-girlfriend, Catherine Allen, for an unpaid loan to buy a car. Kenneth says Catherine used the money to pay bills instead.
Miss Allen, how long do you know Mr. Bradburn?
Almost 30 years.
What's his brother's name?
Craig.
And you were dating Craig?
No, I briefly dated Ken.
Him?
Yes.
But never his brother?
No.
Okay. When you say you briefly...
January till April.
Of this year?
Yes, this year.
So after having known him for 30 years, you thought that there may be a social interest?
Yes.
Great. Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What kind of work does your sister do?
She goes to college.
That's her job?
Yes.
And she gave you $800? It's going to get worse for you instead of better. Are you loving this?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kenneth Bradburn says Catherine Allen owes for a loan to buy a car. Catherine claims the money in question was actually a gift from her sister.
Now, you were looking to purchase a car.
Yes.
When were you looking to purchase a car?
January or February.
So during the brief period of time that you say that you were dating Mr. Bradburn.
Yes.
And Mr. Bradburn's brother was selling a car.
Yes.
What kind of car?
It was 2002 Grand Am.
How did you find out that he was selling the car?
I called Craig, told him I was looking to get a vehicle because he sells cars. So he told me how much that car would be to get.
And what did he tell you?
$864.
And you didn't have $864?
No.
So what did you do?
Well, the car got sold on me.
$64?
No.
So what did you do?
I waited, and my sister told me that she would help me.
Your sister who's sitting over here?
Yes.
Your sister who's here as a plaintiff's witness said she would help you?
Yes.
And that was in January, February?
Yes.
So how did she help you?
She gave me $800 to put towards the vehicle.
What kind of work does your sister do?
She goes to college.
Your sister goes to college?
Yes.
That's her job?
Yes.
How old is your sister?
39.
How does she support herself?
I work. Her and I live together.
So you work and you support your sister? It's going to get worse for you instead of better. Do you understand the way this is going? It's going to get worse instead of better.
Okay.
So you and your sister live together.
Yes.
She's 39 and is a college student.
Yes.
You work and support her, and she gave you $800.
Yes. She got her.
Are you loving this? Okay, this is what the case is about. Mr. Bradburn.
Yes.
It is your claim that you loaned $800 to buy a used car from your brother.
Yes, Your Honor.
Some of it was paid back. You're suing up for $710, which is the balance on the loan. Okay.
We had actually started dating back in December.
I don't care.
Okay.
Actually, that is all what I call softening up my story a little. Otherwise, I'll lose my audience. Do you understand? That's why we started with her. You were dating, your brother was selling a car.
Yes.
She didn't have money to buy the car.
Yep.
And pick it up from there.
I loaned her the money by actually giving the money. I gave the money to actual Beth to hold on to.
That would be her?
Yes, my witness. Okay. And I told Kathy that Beth has the money that I'm going to loan you, and the understanding of you making payments to me.
Just a second. Now you're dating, right? You're dating her. When, there's dating and then there's dating.
Yeah.
So were you dating or dating?
Dating.
Dating?
Yeah.
Not dating?
Not dating.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Miss Allen, you know that your sister doesn't have any money?
I assume she got her taxes back.
You assume she got her taxes back? She doesn't work.
She has a child.
What does she do with the child to make money?
It's a tax write-off.
You have to have income to have a write-off.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kenneth Bradburn says Catherine Allen owes for a loan to buy a car. Catherine claims the money in question was actually a gift from her sister.
Now, how did you know that she needed the money? She must have said something to you during...
Have the money to purchase the car. Because my brother had told me, and then I had told her, that my brother is not going to let her take the car out of the yard unless he's paid up front and full.
And you offered to loan her the money. Is that what you're telling me?
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Now, you gave it to you to hold.
Yes, ma'am.
Stand up. Okay. You're the college student who lives with the sister who had the $800. Look at me.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Where did you get the $800 from?
From Kenny.
From him?
Yes.
Because you don't make any money, do you?
Not at this time. No, I'm trying to better my education so I can get a good job.
You still live with your sister?
Actually, my sister lives with me. I have a 6-year-old.
She is getting cash assistance.
Yes.
She is getting cash assistance and doing volunteer work to help pay for the cash assistance, to help her out with her daughter and college.
Correct.
But your sister is still living with you?
Correct.
I wonder how you feel. Come on, talk to me.
What do you mean, how do I feel?
Well, your sister tells me that the plaintiff gave her the money to give to you.
Okay, yes. To give to me, if I borrowed money from someone, I would assume it would be put in my hand and the agreement would be between us and the money wouldn't come from someone else. Or to hold on to. She gave me the money as a gift to help me out to get a car.
Where do you all live?
In Flint, Michigan.
Yesterday?
Yes.
What did your sister say to you when you left the house day before yesterday to come here to Los Angeles?
What did she say to me?
Yeah. Well, you had to have talked about this case.
Oh, we've talked about it.
And
just basically specifying that, you know, she owes the money. She knows that possibly she owes the money because Kenny gave me the money to hold on to until she found a car.
You know,
my brother had sold the car from out under her.
Correct.
And the money was given to Bethany to hold on to. And the reason why it was given to Bethany is because I didn't want to go into her hands spending the money for something else besides a vehicle. And so when I asked Bethany back for the money like that, Kathy already spent it.
What'd you spend it on?
Bills.
Bills?
Yes.
Did you ask your sister first if you could spend it on the bills?
No.
No. Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to JudgeJudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. Miss Allen, you know that your sister doesn't have any money?
She got a little. I assume she got her taxes
No,
back.
not assume.
Yeah.
You assume she got her taxes back? She doesn't work.
She has a child.
You have to have income to have a write-off.
Right. Well,
you
she
think
had a job,
you think that this was going to be an easy thing for you to do here?
No.
Right?
I did not.
We had 3 round-trip airfares to Michigan, and we put you up in a hotel, and we fed you. You think this is going to be easy? Not going to be easy for the 3 of you. But I think that you actually gave her money. The fact that you probably conspired amongst each other to go through this charade is another story. But I think that you actually gave her the money for the car. And she gave you back some of the money. How much?
$90.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $710. That's all. Thank you. Bye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Will their first tenants be their last?
You say that the water was coming in through the walls in the house.
The whole bathroom had black mold behind the tile.
So what'd you stay there for?
Judge Judy.
According to me, my sister gave me money. If he lent me the money, he would have put it in my hand.
Just an excuse after an excuse.
He was badgering me, calling and texting and texting.
That she had car problems, she had stomach problems, that she wasn't going to work.
Saying he wanted money. I got sick of my phone blowing up, so I gave him a loan.
Do what you got to do if you got to go to court. And I did.
I never considered it a loan.
It's very frustrating. I didn't want to have to go to this point, taking her to court. I just want my money back.
I think that's why he started all this, is because I told him I didn't want a boyfriend.
I won't be loaning money like this again. I just learned my lesson.
We'll see about that.
The whole wall of the house came down?
Just about, yeah.
The peace between tenant and landlord collapses.
I stomped on the brake, but it was not the brake. It was the accelerator, so it just slammed into the house.
In my opinion, she sounded extremely intoxicated.
And a rental takes a turn for the worse.
It was a lot of damage.
Since we couldn't lock our house, we got burglarized.
Why did you continue to live there?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Marty Bowen is suing his former tenants, James and Linda Landon, for unpaid rent and late fees.
Order. All rise.
Now, it's case number 299 on the calendar in the matter of Boland versus seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mrs. Landon, how long were you a tenant of Mr. Boland's?
Just over 4 years.
Did you have a lease?
We were a month-to-month rental.
In what year did you move in?
2011, yes.
In what month and year did you move out?
At the end of August 2015.
What was your rent?
$1,200 a month.
Did you pay May's rent?
Yes.
Did you pay June's rent?
In the form of first and last when we moved in, yes.
That doesn't take you to the end of August.
No, it doesn't. You're correct. There's
well,
very good reason for that.
No, I read your papers. There's no good reason for that.
Okay.
So you didn't pay rent in June, you didn't pay rent in July, and you didn't pay rent in August. Now, did you have first month's rent and last month's rent?
No, Your Honor. We had first month's rent and damage deposit equal to a month's rent. And I have receipts for that.
So you had a damage deposit in what amount?
$1,200.
And Miss Landon, in what month and year did you back your car into Mr. Boland's house?
February 2015.
And you were intoxicated at the time?
No, it was 9:30 in the morning. Not at all.
Well, you could be intoxicated. The whole wall of the house came down?
Just about, yeah. I was pulling out to leave. I had forgotten a document that I needed, and so I backed up and put it in what I thought was park and started to get out of my truck, which is pretty tall. I had one foot on the ground, and this truck started moving backward. And so I grabbed a hold of the steering wheel, and I stomped on the brake, but it was not the brake. It was the accelerator, so it just slammed into the house.
And how much of the house was taken down?
The entire, I have pictures, the entire door and the width of my truck.
Okay. Mr. Boland, your complaint states that Miss Landon backed her vehicle into the house while intoxicated. On what do you base that?
Well, I was on a business trip to Colorado, and I had Nancy Lewis's cell phone, my witness's cell phone, with me on that trip because I don't actually have a cell phone. And she thought she was calling Mrs. Lewis on the cell phone, reached me instead in Colorado. In my opinion, she sounded extremely intoxicated. So I'm basing it upon that.
On just your conversation. All right. What did she say to you when she called? That was the morning of the accident.
Yeah.
Tell me what she said.
Well, she just said she had backed into the wall and caused a bunch of damage. And, of course, my first concern was, are you okay? And she said, yes, everything's fine there. And I said, and you have auto insurance? She said, yes. So
in the house in February after this incident?
Yes.
Who else lived in the house?
Our son.
So 3 of you remained in the house. February. What about in March?
Still there.
Remained there in March.
Still paid the rent.
We
still
paid the rent.
Still kept paying it.
And April?
Yes.
Now, when did you receive the check from the insurance company?
It was the last week in March. Funds became available approximately March 22nd.
And is that when you started to do repairs on the house?
No, actually, I had my carpenter come by on April 1st, of which I have an invoice from him, and no one answered the door. He said, that's okay. We can just do an external inspection. I can see what I need there. So we did the external inspection, and we started gearing up to get the crew. I mean, it was a lot of damage. It was going to take materials, a design, the whole bit. So he came over on August 15th to begin work.
August 15th?
I'm sorry, April 15th to begin work and found the front.
What he noticed?
Okay.
Had the gate been locked previously?
I'm not sure. It's the first time we had checked the gate.
Yes.
We never really locked the gate. It's just got a chain that slips over a pole, just holds the gate closed.
The gate's never been locked ever.
I don't have anybody here that tells me that it's been locked.
He actually has a a receipt where he wrote some notes on it, if I can enter that.
No, you can't.
There's a chain that slips over.
No, you can't. Had somebody go there April 15th, and?
And they couldn't get inside, and they also noticed that there was
You can't tell me what they noticed.
Why garage had to be free of debris and refrigerators and all of that stuff, and also...
I'm not believing you, Mr. Boland.
No,
I'm not believing you. Did you fix the house now?
Yes.
And did you list it for sale?
Not yet.
But you're going to.
There's still a lot of work to be done.
Well, but you got paid.
But not particularly on this wall.
Just a second. But you got paid for the damage that she did.
Yes, and I actually paid $6,000 of that out to my carpenter, too.
So I'm unsympathetic with you a little bit, Mr. Boland.
I understand.
Good. I'm glad you understand. I understand, too. Now, my question to you is, why did you live there without paying rent?
This is why I wanted to say, he kept telling us every time we would complain, because we couldn't lock our house. And we would complain and say, when are you going to start work? He said, we're coming over next week. We're going to shore it up.
Why did you continue to live there?
Because he kept telling us that he was going to be there to fix it. Okay, well, we'll be there next week to fix it. We'll be there next week to fix it. Never did.
When did he give you a notice to quit the property?
Help me. May.
Then you knew he wanted you out.
Right, but...
Just a second. Okay. So then you knew he wanted you out, and you must have been living there 4 years. Somebody moves to evict you and gives you a notice to quit.
And he told us...
Hired a lawyer, and he says, what he tells us...
He says, we don't want you to move.
Not until we sell the place. Help us get it ready to sell. And it wasn't until June when I went over, and he says, point blank, well, I'm not going to fix the place. Why haven't you paid me for June's rent? I said, I'm waiting on you to start construction. He said, well, I'm not going to do that till after you move. And I said, then I'm not paying any more rent. And that was the end of it.
So we started moving out, and... burglarized.
Okay, listen to me. You could have moved out February, March, April, May, June, July, and August. You chose not to do that.
That's right.
You chose not to do that.
He kept telling us that he was going to fix it.
You chose not to do that.
Correct.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Now, I'm unsympathetic with you, Mr. Boland. You're asking for rent that they owe you. I'm not giving you the rent. You had an obligation once you got those funds to repair the premises. The funds that you received were from their insurance, so they were responsible. They had a car insurance. Their car insurance company, because it was her fault, paid you the money, and you should have had it fixed. If you had another agenda, and your other agenda was to spruce up the house and get it ready for sale, and you did that partially with the use of the money that you got from the insurance company, and you had your own contractor and crew, and you arranged for your own price that included everything, not only the wall, but everything else that had to be spruced up, good for you. So you're not getting your rent. You had an obligation to fix the house. You, on the other hand, got to live for 2 months, $2,400.
We also have a counterclaim now.
It's dismissed. It's dismissed. You backed into the house. You decided to live there.
He was paid
You
for it.
chose to live there, and you lived for 2 months rent-free for $2,400 because I'm awarding him nothing. Do you understand?
I do.
This case is over. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The area had to be, clear and free of debris.
We absolutely cleaned it up.
And they just kept piling junk.
He's a liar.
So, could never get to it.
He had plenty of chances to fix it, and he didn't.
Nope, ready to put it behind.
Because he's a substandard landlord.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Anderson versus Ramirez. Step forward.
21-year-old Joycia Anderson is suing her former roommate, 21-year-old Amanda Ramirez, for unpaid rent and bills.
Miss Anderson, this is the boyfriend?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you, the boyfriend, and Miss Ramirez shared an apartment?
Yes, correct.
And it's your claim she owes you some rent for a couple of months?
Correct.
Did you move into the apartment together?
We did. We all three signed the lease together.
Great. And what was the total rent on the apartment?
$1,326.
And did each of you pay a third?
No, we split it into rooms, so it was half. Each of us paid $700.
Yeah, but there are 3 people.
We agreed on, and in the beginning.
Well, that was nice of her. That was very nice of her.
Yeah.
And you didn't split it up by rooms because how many bedrooms were there?
There were 2 bedrooms.
How many kitchens were there?
There was 1.
And how many living rooms were there?
There's 1.
Are there bathrooms?
Yes, there's 1.
So what I'm telling you is that was very nice of her to agree to pay for half.
Yeah.
Because 3 of you are living in the living room, 3 of you are eating in the kitchen, 3 of you are using the bathroom. The only people who were enjoying each other in 1 bedroom are the 2 of you.
That's not true. There was, her boyfriend also enjoyed her in the bed.
Just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She was upset, I guess, because he and I were watching TV.
You mean the boyfriend?
Yes. So she was mad, and the next morning she asked me to go.
Stand up. Stand.
Closed captioning is provided by...
I found a better deal on prescriptions.
We found lower copays.
And a free wellness visit. New plan, same doctor. I'm happy.
It's Medicare open enrollment. Have you compared plans yet?
It's easy at Medicare.gov.
Or you can call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Medicare open enrollment. You'll never know unless you go.
I did it. You can too.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Joycia Anderson says former roommate Amanda Ramirez broke their lease and moved out owing for rent and bills.
Now, my question to you, did her boyfriend live there all the time?
No, but he was there frequently.
Who cares? I don't care if he was there frequently. I'm sure you had friends over as well. I'm just saying, from the perspective of fairness, it seems like she was very generous to agree to pay for half the rent.
I was generous to offer her a room.
No, she was generous to pay half the rent.
Okay.
Now, according to your complaint, you say that she left, and she left before the lease was up, and she owes for a couple of months' rent.
Yes.
Which months?
She owes for September and October.
Was she living there in September?
She was. Her things were there.
Was she living there in October?
Yes, she was.
Is that correct?
Absolutely not, Your Honor.
When did you leave?
I left September 1st.
She didn't leave September 1st.
If you shout out again, I'm dismissing your case.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
Perfect. Now, you left on September 1st to go where?
To my mother's home.
Why?
Because of her jealousy. She had came in one day. She was upset, I guess, because he and I were watching TV. She was uncomfortable.
You mean the boyfriend?
Yes. She was uncomfortable with our mad. The following morning, she asked me to go.
That was September 1st?
It was end of August. So October, this month, I was not there at all.
What about in September?
September, I was hardly there.
But you were there. I don't care, hardly. Hardly is not a word I want to hear in these kinds of disputes. Were you there in September?
Yes.
Okay, so you have to pay September's rent. And your share of the rent was?
$663 plus utilities. And so pretty much it amounted to about $700 and some more.
Now, in October, did you remove all of your property?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a discussion with... Stand up. Stand.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a discussion with the roommates about leaving in October?
No.
Did you give them notice that you were leaving in October?
Well, when she asked me to leave, I kind of...
But you didn't leave, Miss Ramirez. But when she asked you to leave the beginning of September, according to you, you didn't leave. You were sort of there sometimes. Yeah. So you didn't move out because, according to your answer, she said, get your stuff and get out of here. You didn't go.
That September 1st, I got majority of my things, and Destiny was kind enough to take me.
That's right. But you went back.
To get the rest of my things, yes.
No, but you... Are you telling me that you didn't sleep at the house again in September?
No.
Once?
Like, what, twice?
Continues in a moment.
I do have a bed. She asked me if I would like to keep it. I said no. It was a bed that she had given to me.
So it was her bed that she gave to you?
That's incorrect.
Did you?
No, I didn't. I apologize. Yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Joycia Anderson says former roommate Amanda Ramirez broke their lease and moved out owing for rent and bills.
Now, what happened in October?
Absolutely nothing. I was at my mother's house this entire month.
Just a second. Eric. You're Eric, right?
Yeah.
You're still living there with her?
Yes, ma'am.
You have another roommate? It's not an answer. Do you have another roommate?
No, ma'am.
Did you advertise for another roommate?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because I was getting a family member to move in, but we were unsure of...
Just a second. I don't want you to skate, Eric.
You got it.
Great. Which family member was supposed to move in?
My cousin.
Your cousin who?
Reggie.
Reggie what? She knows your relatives. Your cousin Reggie what? Where is Reggie living now?
With my mother.
With your mother. How long has he been living with your mother?
2 months now.
What does he do?
Shoe salesman.
When is he moving in?
As soon as we figure out what...
She's on the lease. I said physically.
Well, her things are still there.
What things?
Her bed's still there. There's a dresser.
You have a bed?
I do have a bed. She asked me if I would like to keep it. I said no. It was a bed that she had given to me. Therefore, she...
Just a second. So it was her bed that she gave to you?
That's incorrect.
Did you?
No, I didn't. I apologize. Yeah.
Where did you get the bed from?
The bed, she gave it to me, or she let me borrow. I wasn't really clear on that. As for something for me to sleep on, she gave me a bed.
You didn't buy the bed?
No.
Anything else there of hers? Allegedly? What else?
The bed.
Forget the bed. She's not coming back for the bed. What else?
Lamps, clothes, shoes.
You have clothes and shoes and stuff there?
I have again, she asked me if there was...
No.
Yes.
You have clothes. You have things there.
I left things there.
Then you have to pay rent for September and October. Then you have to pay rent. You can't be half in and half out. Madam, get your stuff.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I'm going to tell them this. You don't plan on going back there anymore? Pay careful attention to my mouth. You don't plan on going back there anymore?
No, ma'am.
And throw it in the dumpster. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Want to get that on tape. Anything that's there that belongs to her, throw in the garbage.
You got it.
Now, when are you going to go and sign yourself off the lease?
November.
That sounded like a question.
November, ma'am.
If she doesn't sign off the lease in the next 5 days, you are free to come back here and get another month's rent from her. Do you understand?
Yes.
Ma'am.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $13.26. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Prized show horses mistreated?
If your horses were being neglected, take them out.
I thought maybe if I talked to her, she would listen to my complaints, but instead she called the sheriff and threw me out.
Next Judge Judy.
For me to not know her and offer her somewhere to stay.
She made it pretty clear she didn't want me there.
And for her to try to evade paying and try to hit on my boyfriend, that didn't work out.
Well, she made a complaint that I was too friendly with her boyfriend.
Both of them were on the couch, so I figured it was like Netflix and chill type of thing.
I don't feel I was too friendly at all. You know, he's a nice guy. He's someone that's easy to talk to.
Not at all. I'm just very easy going, so...
But I don't feel like I was too friendly.
There are some times...
Yes, this is news to me.
So I removed myself from that situation completely.
So I was very disappointed, but I didn't kick her out.
There is no friendship.
There will be no other female I will allow to be in my house.
Not to move in with people that I don't know fully.
Other than family members and blood, and sometimes you can't even trust them.
This is an old house that you bought at foreclosure that needed an awful lot of work.
Brand new landlords learn on the job.
You say that the water was coming in through the walls in the house.
I actually have video of that.
Will their first tenants be their last?
The whole bathroom had black mold behind the tile. He came in and took 6 tiles out and only replaced 6 tiles.
So what'd you stay there for?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Mark Mamalji and his brother Alan are suing their former tenant, Ishmael Carmona, for unpaid rent and late fees.
Order. All rise.
This case number 278 on the calendar, and the matter has been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Who owns the house where Mr. and Mrs. Carmona were living?
I do.
Your last name is?
Mamalji.
And you manage it?
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay. This is a single-family home?
Yes.
How long have you owned it?
Actually, I purchased it about a month before they were the first owner, or first tenants.
Did you purchase it from the bank?
Yes.
They rented the house when?
On May 7th was the original date of the deposit.
And what was the monthly rent?
$725 a month.
On what date did they move in?
The move-in date was the 15th. They actually moved in, I believe, the last few days of that month.
When did they move out?
First of this month, they moved out.
When was the last time they paid rent?
They only paid 2 months of rent.
So they paid May to June, June to July.
Yes.
Is that correct so far?
No.
What months did you pay?
We moved in June 1st. The rent was paid for June, July, and August.
And August?
And August.
Okay. How much did you pay in June?
$725.
And July?
$725.
And August?
$500.
Why $500 in August?
Because that's what I was told to pay. After the $225 for property damage, they said it was owed to me, so they said $500.
Who said it was owed to you?
Well, that's why Mark told me to pay $500. That his brother will deduct $200.
I am.
Did he give you $500?
I never received
dollars from him.
No.
Do you have receipts for the $500?
Cash was given to him in hand. Whatever he did with the cash, I don't know what it was.
What about the $725?
Yes, I do.
You have receipts for that?
Yeah, deposit slips into his account.
But not for the $500?
No.
Well, then all you can prove is $725 twice.
Okay.
So we're talking about rent for August and September. Now, the issue is whether or not the place was rendered uninhabitable as a result of water leaking into the house. There's no issue that there was water damage. I assume you had insurance on the house. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Did you submit a claim to the insurance company with regard to the water damage?
No.
Why not?
I was actually unaware of the water damage until he verbally told me that they installed a wash machine, and the wash machine had flooded the basement.
Who told you that?
The tenant.
Mr. Carmona?
Yes.
Did you install a washing machine, Mr. Carmona?
No. Prior to renting the apartment, there was a washer already in there, and the washer didn't work, so no washer.
So the answer is you installed a new washing machine?
No.
You did not?
No, though there was a washing machine already in there.
You didn't buy a washing machine?
I bought a dryer.
But not a washing machine?
But not a washing machine.
What proof do you have that he installed a washing machine?
Only the proof that he told me that they actually had flooded the basement, it was an accident, and that their new washing
that he put in?
Yeah, he said they had a wash machine and dryer, they put it in. They said they tried the one that was in the basement, and it didn't work at all. And I said, okay, that was just free. It wasn't part of the rent. It was just in the basement. I said,
when did you have this conversation with him, sir?
It was over the phone, probably the first 2 weeks that they moved in.
I want you to tell me exactly what you remember of that phone conversation. Who did you have a conversation with?
It was Mr. Carmone had told me they put a wash machine and a dryer in, and I guess in the basin where the wash machine should drain, he said we had to put one in because yours wasn't working. And the discharge
No, he
hose,
said he bought a dryer.
Yes, but on the phone he told me they bought washer and dryer. And I believe my manager was in the basement several times to do checking and painting, and he could witness that he's seen them.
Witness what?
I came in to talk to them about some damages in the basement from water damage. And the tenant had told me they installed a wash machine, and the discharge hose had fallen on the ground and was blowing water all over the ground, all over their cardboard boxes that were in the basement.
Did the washing machine, Mr. Carmona, empty into a basin?
No, it didn't.
Where did it empty into?
Didn't empty, didn't work. We tried to turn the water on, the water didn't run through the machine, so it was just shut off. Never did a cycle, never did anything. And the washer just sat there in the same location.
And so you didn't wash clothes?
Laundromat.
I don't believe you. Now, Mr. Carmona, it is your statement, because you have a counterclaim, and you say that the water was coming in through the walls in the house.
Yes, it was.
I'd like to see photographs of that. Here's the video.
I actually have video of that.
Of the water coming in through the walls?
Yes.
Love to see it. Because you would agree, Mr. Mamalji, that if water was coming in through the walls of the house, irrespective of whether there was an act of negligence with a washing machine, that would be your responsibility.
Absolutely.
And that if there was any damage as a result of water coming through the walls of the house, that would be your responsibility. You would agree with that?
Sure.
Okay. And what you're telling me is there was no water coming through the walls.
We never seen water coming through the walls. There was dampness because it is a basement and it rained for 3 months straight in Indiana.
Well, that's what we're talking about,
right,
sir.
Right. And we remedied that problem as soon as we were aware of it.
So that there was water coming through the walls.
I mean, water coming through is not quite the same as a damp wall, but nevertheless, it was damp. There was some minor dampness.
I do have photographs of the wash machine.
Result of water coming in, not from a washing machine.
Well, no, the basement had flooded, and that got all their boxes wet. There was a good inch of water in the basement floor, but the dampness only creates just dampness.
I'm talking about from the walls. You can see it on the walls.
Oh, like I say, it was very damp, but there was no actual running water that would sit 1 inch deep in the basement, and there's a drain in the basement. So it would just, minor dampness is always in a basement, and Indiana had record rain. They had 3 months of nonstop rain.
Okay. Have you since fixed the house?
As soon as we were aware of the problem, the manager went in.
Tell me what you did.
We were there within a week. We scrubbed all the walls in the basement, every wall in the basement, and painted every wall in the basement with a mold-resistant paint, which I have to see, and a sealing paint.
I'd like to see the
pictures
photographs.
of. Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's all the painted ones, and this one. This is after painting.
And these are all the ones after we painted all the walls. There was and these are the pictures.
Now, did you live in the basement, Mr. Carmona?
Sure.
What happened?
You and your family, did you live in the basement?
No.
The pictures of the living conditions of the basement when they moved in.
I can't see this.
Those are all painted walls white.
It's just white.
We painted all the walls white. That's their living conditions of the house in the basement.
And it was
When they left?
Well, yeah.
When they left?
Yes. And you can see the watch still sitting there.
It's not even by the...
It's
not even by the hookup.
Oh, those are everything that was damaged by the water.
The stuff that you were storing in the basement?
Yeah. That we didn't even have a chance to bring it upstairs because it got damaged. So it all stayed in the basement. There was no point for me to bring it back to my new location.
That's how everything was stored.
Now, mind you, those were in boxes down the center of...
Just a second. Did you have renter's insurance?
He took out a policy for us, yes.
He took out a policy for you? Renter's insurance?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, I did. They couldn't afford it, so I told them I would pay for it, and they could pay me monthly on it. And I never did receive a payment. And it was $189 State Farm insurance, and they denied their water claim also.
Just a second. I don't believe the story that you didn't install a washing machine and that the flooding that was caused, the major flooding that caused the damage to this property was not done as a result of the washing machine. I see water coming through a basement. I've had many basements, sweaty basements. And depending upon the water table, sometimes if it rains, it comes in slowly. But the damage that was done to your property was done as a result of the washing machine.
Incorrect.
That's what I believe.
Okay.
That's what I believe. And that was caused by your negligence.
Okay.
Because you installed it. You hooked it up, and you created the problem.
From the photos they showed you, that washing machine was standing there. It's not even hooked up.
That's correct. That's right. That was our washing machine.
Because what he says is brought in another washing machine. Right. That's what he says you told him, and that's what I believe, Mr. Carmona.
Okay.
Good. I'm glad.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I actually tried to file a claim, and they said we were denied.
This doesn't say it was denied.
Never got a call, never got a letter. That's all I got.
Please call us so we can discuss the facts of this claim and schedule an appointment to inspect your property.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mark Mamalju and his brother Alan claim former tenant Ishmael Carmona owes for rent and late fees. Ishmael is countersuing for loss of property due to water damage.
Go ahead.
I do have some more pictures of the after, and I do have before pictures before they moved in, so you could see the before.
I'd like to see both.
Yes, ma'am.
I also have the policy, and it is in their name. I just paid for it.
These are before conditions.
So why did they deny it?
I don't know. I guess they
came
in
and the after conditions.
Why did they deny the policy?
Because the house was claimed unsafe to live in. Roof was not good. The water heater wasn't good, so they didn't approve their policy.
You can see the pictures of the house.
And the video that I showed you,
the gorgeous
of
house.
The water already in there was after they came in and painted the walls.
There was actually a hole kicked in.
Shower rod was gone. Damage everywhere.
The truth is you lied to your brother.
Yeah.
Because
even before they moved in this house needs work.
Thank you.
Oh, we did a lot of work on it before anyone moved in. We painted everything. We went over.
It still looks like it needs work.
I understand. It's Gary, Indiana. It's a lower income area.
I got it.
You know.
Okay. And I have the policy.
This is the policy, and it is actually in force. And that's their copy with their names on it.
Did you make any payment on this policy?
Oh yes, it's paid. I talked to the agent, and he said that
you can't tell me what the agent said.
Okay.
You did what you were supposed to do. Now it's up to you to take care of it with the insurance company. He has nothing to do with that.
I actually tried to file a claim, and they said we were denied because
well, I don't know that. Do you have any proof of that?
Right here.
I'd like to see it, please. This doesn't say it was denied.
That's the letter. I filed the claim, and that's what they gave me. That's what they said.
They said, "Dear Mr. Carmona, we've received your reported claim and wish to discuss the matter with you, but we were unable to reach you by phone."
Never got a call, never got a letter. That's all I got.
Please call us so we can discuss the facts of this claim and schedule an...
And they never showed up.
Your counterclaim's dismissed. Now, I'm moving on.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your counterclaim's dismissed. He did what he... Put your hand down. He did what he was supposed to do. You paid him zero money. Just be quiet. You paid him zero money for renter's insurance. That's your responsibility. That's not his responsibility. As a renter, you pay a relatively small amount of money, and you... Sit down.
Oh, my God. That's so unfair.
You're jumping.
Because everything he's saying, you're not even letting us prove it. It's not just the basement. It was upstairs that had mold on the walls coming from the ceiling.
I got this letter
saying.
after they gave me a 15-day notice.
This says that you had a policy in effect on September 24th, 2015.
That's when I called August. On September 20-something, I was already in eviction court.
I don't care. You said you had property damage. There was insurance on the property.
And I called August 3rd after I got the 15-day notice.
This is dated September 24th. They say, please call them with regard to your property loss.
I actually did speak to the guy. I was the one that called.
Show me. Hearsay.
Ma'am, he did not have homeowner's insurance. Ask him to prove his homeowner's insurance.
Just to say, he doesn't have to prove homeowner's
because he didn't have
Stand up. He doesn't have to have homeowner's insurance, madam. This letter is sent to you from the insurance company, not homeowner's insurance. They don't say you don't have a claim. They don't say you don't have a paid policy. They say, we received your claim. Please call us so we can inspect the property, so we can resolve the claim. You chose not to do that.
By September 24th, we were already out of the property and in a different state.
So
drive an hour and a half back.
Just a second. So you call them and you say, I'm already out of the property, but I have photographs of our damage. This is our damage.
We do have.
Don't show me. This has nothing to do with me. This has nothing to do with him. This has to do with the insurance.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You just said to me the insurance claim is still going forward. If the insurance claim is still going forward, my question to you is, why are you here suing for $5,000?
I have no clue why I'm here.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mark Mamalju and his brother Alan say former tenant Ishmael Carmona owes for rent and late fees.
Now, the whole case actually is about rent for 2 months.
And damages.
They went into court with fake leases. Here's the original, and look at the one they submitted.
Did you live in the house?
Yes, it was I'm the one that lived there.
Did you live in the house?
Correct.
Who else? Did you live there in July?
Yeah, that's when
Did you live there in August?
Yes.
Correct.
Did you live there in September?
Correct.
Did you pay rent in September?
No, because...
Did you pay rent in August?
August was paid for.
But you have no proof of that. You have proof of paying 2 months' rent, $725 2 times.
And a deposit.
How much deposit?
$725.
Which is for damages, not for rent. The deposit is
just a second. You had other damage that had absolutely nothing to do with him. What he did was leave you all the stuff that was damaged by the water.
And we put a hole in the wall to the house.
Which was caused by the water leak.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Don't shout out again. Let me see.
And you can see by the pictures, there's no mold on any of the wall. It's just a hole kicked in.
This is a total of all the repairs that we had to do to get the house back up to like it was.
And this is the lease they signed and notarized. Official notarized.
The original
Turn this
lease.
in, please. I'm not interested in this. Listen to me carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
You have $725. Did you fix this?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. And did you put in a new shower head?
Oh, new shower head?
Yes.
Dumpsters, scrubbing, painting walls.
That has nothing to do with them. I see a hole in the wall and I see a missing shower head. And what happened to the shower head?
They took it out when they replaced the vanity. It was underneath the vanity. We got pictures of the vanity. When it was damaged, they came in and replaced it because the roof was leaking. The washing machine, it was from the roof leaking through the walls to the basement. And there's video and pictures in the laptop about it. It's in the laptop.
And I have just a second. Show me water coming in. Show me. I didn't see it here.
Oh, I need the laptop, yes.
And here's a picture of this is the bathroom vanity, which is upstairs, not located in the basement, and it has black mold all in it. We asked him to come fix it. His brother, Alan, the owner, was under the assumption we got a new vanity, but he brought us in an old vanity.
Don't put it down.
Yes, ma'am.
And this too. And this is his text message saying for me to save everything so he can make a claim with the insurance company.
Well, that's what the insurance company told
but that was mine and his text message through each other. And Alan is telling me save everything and bag whatever else I can save so we can make a claim with the insurance company. Well, the claim with the insurance company, after it becomes non-water damage, it becomes mold. So the insurance company dismissed the claim solely because of that.
Just a second. You can't tell me that because the last letter that I have here, which is only a few weeks ago, says we have your claim.
Yes.
Please call us.
We did.
You can't tell me that.
We spoke with...
A letter from them denying your claim.
The claim's actually still going.
No.
It's still going.
Well, the counterclaim.
I don't know, because he, in the first place...
Just a second. don't talk fast. You just said to me the insurance claim is still going forward. If the insurance claim is still going forward, my question to you is, why are you here suing for $5,000?
I have no clue why I'm here.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, so this is an old house that you bought at foreclosure. You bought it from a bank that needed an awful lot of work. You may have painted the walls and made it look pretty, but there was a lot of intrinsic stuff that was wrong with it.
The house
because
is in
what
very
you're
good
suing for is really 2 months' rent and what I consider marginal damage, except for the damage that was done by wet and water, and that they left there.
And extensive
And so you cleaned it up. Listen to me. You have $725 in order to fix any damage that there is to the house. He's not rebuilding a house that you bought from a bank.
I agree.
Good. Insurance company is going to take care of this. The only question I have to resolve is whether or not they owe you for September's rent. And as far as I'm concerned, they don't. Usually I'm very sympathetic with landlords when tenants live there and don't pay rent. There's a reason people with 3 children who have a nice house, apparently nice house, move out and leave all their stuff in the house. There's a reason, and it's not because they're crazy.
Right, and we remedied all their problems. Within a week, they
Your
created
case is dismissed, and the insurance company hopefully will take care of yours. That's all.
Please are excused when they step out. Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Giving away man's best friend.
When for the first time did she tell you she wanted the dogs back?
Almost 4 weeks after.
What did you tell her?
You surrendered the dogs to me, you're not getting them back.
Judge Judy.
We lost over 70% of our stuff, all of our stuff, like the judge said. Nobody packs up their stuff and leaves a bunch of stuff behind for no reason.
Destroyed the house. There was the only water damage was from their wash machine.
We kept asking him for a deposit. He wouldn't give us nothing back. We don't have the money.
They're professional squatters.
Some lords.
Just good riddance. I'm glad they're finally out.
Our agreement was that she would take care of my horses, and she failed to do that.
Are your horses both alive?
Thank God, yes.
Prize show horses mistreated.
The failure of Tina to...
Horses were being neglected. Take them out.
Then she was saddled with more troubles.
I thought maybe if I talked to her, she would listen to my complaints, but instead she called the sheriff and threw me out.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinlin. This is Judge Judy. Ann Shapiro is suing Christina Shute for the return of money she paid for horse boarding fees.
Order. All rise.
This case 254 on the calendar in the matter of Shapiro versus Shute.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Ms. Shapiro, you belong to a riding club, and your riding club has people who board horses, as do you. I've read your complaint. This is what I imagined your complaint is all about. Your riding club used the defendant's stables to board their horses. How many people are in the riding club?
10.
Do each of them have 2 horses?
No, I'm the only one that has 2 horses.
And when did you start to use Miss Schute's establishment?
The 1st of March, 2014.
Where were you before that?
We were at another barn called Wintergreen, which is about 15 minutes away.
How long were you at Wintergreen?
In Foley, Minnesota, which was an hour and a half away from my house.
You also have the same 2 horses?
Yes, one was young, too young to ride.
Okay, so all the 10 people boarded their horses at Wintergreen.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you move from Wintergreen?
Because it went on the market. The person that owned Wintergreen wanted to sell it, so we left. She didn't want any boarders there. She wanted it pristine.
And what do you pay per month? Do you pay to the club or do you pay to the
we pay directly to the defendant.
When you say we, I'm talking about just you.
I pay $1,300 directly to the defendant to take care of 2 of my horses.
Per month?
Yes.
And where were you going to go after you left Miss Schute's establishment?
We all as a group told her...
I didn't ask you that question.
Okay.
I didn't ask you that question.
All right.
What I asked you was, where did you go after you were leaving Miss Schute's establishment?
Our trainer bought his own farm. So...
Okay, shh, just a second.
Sorry.
So the person who was part of your club bought his own farm.
Right.
When did he purchase that farm?
In May.
So you were going to move your horses because, let's say, whatever the trainer, what's the trainer's first name?
Nick.
Because Nick said, we can use my farm, you'll pay me, and it's going to help to...
That's not exactly what happened.
You mean it was serendipitous?
No, it was that the failure of Tina to provide food for the horses over and over and over again got Nick to look for his own place.
Well,
so we had to move.
You can't, I must tell you, that you can't tell me what was in Nick's mind when he bought the horse farm or whatever property he bought in order to have a stable. Suffice it to say, the chronology of it is Nick bought property sufficient to house at least 12 horses, because you have 2 and you're the only one that has 2.
Only one of my horses will be boarded at Nick's. The other one is at a different farm.
Is there a reason for that?
He's not broke yet, and so he doesn't need to go in at night.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but he's a baby.
It doesn't make sense, and I don't care. But the property, in what month did you remove your horses?
The last day of July.
So they were there the entire month of July.
You could say that.
Fine. Well, I'm saying that. I said, what date did you remove your horses? You said the last day of July, which means they were there in July.
Well, they were, but the question is, were they taken care of?
I'm not making that decision.
Okay.
You ate the steak. You left your horses there. Move them to Nick's house in July. Move them to Nick's house in June. He bought the property in May. You left them. You have a lease with her.
It was a release.
June and July and August and September. Well, now it's getting cold and you don't need colder air conditioning. The landlord moves to evict you. You say, I didn't pay my rent. I say, if it's too hot, move. And if your horses were being neglected, take them out. But you elected not to do that.
Well, our trainer trains out of that barn, and we are show horses. We go to shows. And so if I left, I wouldn't be able to have him ride or train my horse.
What does that have to do with her?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What possible reason would you have for leaving horses that you claim are neglected?
I thought maybe if I talked to her about it on that Saturday, she would listen to my complaints, but instead she called the sheriff and threw me out.
You were moving anyway.
And later today,
when I asked him what had happened to my dog, he immediately responded, your dog aggravates my dog by barking. I said, did you see what happened in the yard? Was it a bear? One more time I asked him, did you see what happened? He said, no, I have a bad eye.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ann Shapiro says Christina Shute owes for the return of her horse boarding fees.
Now, if you love your horses, and if somebody is neglecting your horses, what horses that you claim are neglected only because your trainer works out of that facility?
Well, pardon me, but I thought maybe if I talked to her about it on that Saturday, she would listen to my complaints, but instead she called the sheriff and threw me out.
You were moving anyway.
No, well, but we had 2 months.
Moving.
We had to get 2 months. We had to get through 2 months.
You were moving anyway.
So he almost got killed in a tornado.
Just a second. You were moving anyway, and you went to Nick's anyway. Did the whole club go to Nick's?
Yes, because we
Your case is dismissed. Good night. Goodbye. Have a good day.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Our horses almost died.
Well, I think Judge Judy knows her stuff.
She allows her felon boyfriend to shoot at our horses.
He and my 13-year-old were shooting a crossbow this big at a piece of plywood.
People are too afraid to say anything when the barn owners are kind of going off half-cocked.
It's the boarders that are usually crazy. And so I have to pick and choose my boarders, and that's what it comes down to.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ross versus Nestler. Step forward.
Bruce Ross is suing his neighbors, Mary and Lee Nestler, for vet bills after his Boston Terrier was attacked by 2 of their dogs.
Nice-looking dog.
Thank you.
Mr. Ross, it is your claim that the Nestlers, who are neighbors of yours, are responsible for your dog's vet bills when their dogs attacked you correctly. Your answer would be that the plaintiff told you that a bear attacked his dog.
Correct.
That's your defense, that your dogs didn't do it, and it was a bear. How long have you been neighbors?
Probably about 7 years.
And give me the date of this incident, Mr. Ross.
April 19th. Sunday, April 19th.
And where did it take place?
In my backyard.
Is your backyard fenced?
Yes, it is.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have 2 dogs. One is a boxer mastiff mix. The second dog is a Cane Corso Rottweiler. I would say those are the two primary
So they're
mixtures.
two very large dogs?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. On the 19th, you let your dog out to take care of his business? Her business? In the backyard?
Yes, ma'am.
Did the dog remain in the backyard?
For a very short time, and then I heard the commotion and the dog ran back to the house.
Well, where was the commotion coming from?
The backyard.
But the backyard is fenced.
Yes, ma'am.
So your dog was contained in the backyard?
Yes.
So if it was the defendant's dogs that attacked your dog, like your dog wants to attack my cameraman, then their dogs would have had to jump over your fence.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
Correct.
How high is the fence?
4 feet.
Okay. Well, then that's sort of an easy jump for a large. See their dogs on your property?
No, I did not.
What makes you think it was their dog?
Well, my dog just went out to use the restroom, and I went back into the house. And immediately after, I heard the dog screaming and yelling. I heard Lee calling for his dogs.
You're Lee?
Yes.
How did you hear him calling for
I could hear him through the window.
What was he saying?
He calls his dogs with a hog call, so he was screaming for his dogs.
Is that how you call for your dog, sir?
I call them by name.
Do you ever call them by a hog call?
No, ma'am. And I'm a farm boy, so we don't do that.
What happened next, Mr. Ross?
I immediately took my dog to the vet, emergency room, and they did surgery that day. When I returned home, I went out back to see what happened to the dog. Mr. Nessler and Mrs. Nessler were standing out at the back fence waiting on me.
You mean waiting to talk to you?
Waiting to speak with me.
So far, is that correct?
No, I wasn't even home.
Just your husband?
Right.
Okay, so he was waiting, and?
When I asked him what had happened to my dog, he immediately responded, "Your dog aggravates my dog by barking." I said, "Did you see what happened in the yard? Was it a bear? What happened to the dog?" He said, "Your dog aggravates mine." One more time I asked him, "Did you see what happened?" He said, "No, I have a bad eye." After looking at it, the fence line, I had ferns that had grown there. I have a photograph of where I have a photograph of his fence where he has his dogs contained with a PVC lattice work fence and some snow fencing that held his dogs in there. I sent him a letter on the 23rd stating that he needed to change his fence. He has changed the fence to a 6-foot fence with 3 rows of barbed wire across the top of it, down the back of his fence of his property.
Mr. Nessler.
Yes.
Have you received any complaints other than this one with regard to your dogs from animal control?
Yes.
How many?
One on February 7th.
So a couple of months before this incident?
Yes.
And that was from a neighbor?
Yes.
Who also had a dog?
Yes.
Do you have a copy of that complaint?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it.
I also have a copy of that from Orange County, along with photographs.
I'd like to see that complaint.
She won't know about them.
Okay. Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Would you tell me why you didn't immediately after this first incident where your dog injured another animal and looks like the owner, after this incident, you didn't fix the fence?
Real cases, real people. Judges Mary and Lee Nessler owe for vet bills after his Boston Terrier was attacked by 2 of their dogs. The defendants claim it was a bear that attacked Bruce's dog.
Okay, so the first offense that you got resulted in a fine of $663. And would you tell me why you didn't immediately after this first incident where your dog, the Boxer Mastiff mix, injured another animal and looks like the owner? In the process, he received lacerations from the dog. Was that the owner?
It was the owner, yes.
Well, would you tell me why, sir, after this incident, you didn't fix the fence?
The dogs were put in the house. When they went out, they were only allowed in the backyard on a leash from that point on until later in the year, until the fence could be replaced on the side. Even today, they are not allowed in the front portion.
Today, just a minute, we're not talking about today, we're talking 2 months later.
We had Florida Gas Company in our yard.
And?
So our dogs could not go out without a leash because they could have gotten out anywhere while this was taking place. And I believe it was a day in between the gas company. We had already ordered the fence from the first episode.
The 19th of April, were your dogs at your residence consistently for the next 2 weeks?
Yes.
Yes.
Never left your premises?
No.
May I see the photographs now?
Your Honor, on their fence, according to with the gas company, that never did, excuse me, sir, that did nothing to do with their property line. It never
doesn't matter.
Their fence.
It doesn't matter. Their responsibility is immediately after this incident happened, they should have erected a fence. Well, this is the new fence.
That is the new fence.
And this would be the old fence.
Yes, ma'am. And that's still there. That is on the front of the property, and that is still there by the mailbox.
Okay, but this isn't how they got over.
No, it did go over the 4 feet. In the one photo you'll see there where the fence is, it seems long right there. I'm not in their property. It's the picture of the new fence, but it does look like county lockup down there now.
I'd like you to tell me about the conversation that you had with the defendant after you came back from the vet with your dog.
She was home. They were shoveling mulch when I got home.
Shh, don't speak. You already told me you weren't home. Now it's his turn.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and
the dog. And twice he repeated that it was my dog aggravates his. And then I asked if it was a bear. And he's running with the answer to the story that it's a bear. I have veterinary statement right here from my vet that says it was not a bear. It was consistent with the dog attack. And it also is consistent, the wounds are consistent with the dog from the neighbor right there that you have from the Orange County statement. My vet said a dog this size will not...
Don't tell me what your vet said, sir.
Okay.
Your dogs go for the same spot all the time, sir. You following me, Mr. Nessler? Your dogs go for the same hind quarter all the time.
No, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
I do not know what you're speaking of.
Yes, sir. How much were your vet bills?
$5,892.60.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000, which is the court's maximum. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
This horse was on their property, running at large.
Then, some frontier justice.
They beat him with a whip trying to force him through a fence.
He is telling a lie.
Next Judge Judy.
I think that my neighbor is a liar, and I'm glad he's moved.
I think she fairly heard the case, and she's seen straight through their lie.
So sue your neighbor.
This dog is too small for a bear to be able to attack it and the dog to survive.
I feel sorry for the dog.
She is back to 100%.
Hear a commotion, you go outside, and you find that your car has been totally destroyed.
A 9-year-old's joyride backfires.
You stole a truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And whose truck was it?
My cousin. The car that he was driving flipped over. I mean, he's lucky to be alive.
Will it cost his family a fortune?
Somebody on this side is going to pay for their wrecked car. It's just a question of who it's going to be.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. 23-year-old Kristen Funderburk is suing Janetta Wooten, Lillian Williams, John Williams, and Robert Towell for damage caused to her car when John's 10-year-old son, Amarian Hood, stole an SUV and crashed it into her car.
Order. All rise.
Case number 317 on the calendar, no matter else.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
I have a feeling that I have the wrong people up here. Who is John Williams? That would be you. Who are you?
Lillian Williams.
Who are you?
I'm his sister.
His sister. And you?
Janetta Wooten.
And who are you?
I'm the cousin.
You're a cousin?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Why don't you sit down, please? You, the cousin. Sit down.
Okay.
Mr. Williams, step up, please. Right over here. Now, this is your sister, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I got the people that I need, except for one. I need you standing up there, right here, and you can move over. Perfect. Now, your first name is?
Amarian.
Amarian. On July 27th of this year, you stole a truck, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What time did you steal the truck at night?
About 12 or 1.
And whose truck was it?
My cousin's.
This lady?
Yes, ma'am.
And whose house were you staying at?
My aunt's.
That would be you.
Yes.
You dropped him off at your sister's house.
Yes, ma'am.
And about midnight, you're fast asleep.
Yes, ma'am. It was actually around 3 in the morning.
3 in the morning.
Yes,
well, maybe
ma'am.
he had a ride between midnight and 3. But you and your husband are fast asleep. You hear it been totally destroyed.
Yes, ma'am.
Your parked car has been totally destroyed.
Yes, ma'am.
Your parked car has been totally destroyed by a Marion. Is that correct, young man?
Yes, ma'am.
So this case is relatively simple. The plaintiffs are not going to pay for their wrecked car. Somebody on this side is going to pay for their wrecked car. Doesn't that sound right to you, Mr. Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's just a question of who it's going to be. Because they're not going to pay for it. They were sleeping. So this case is relatively simple. They're going to get their money. The only question is, from whom? I gather from reading your papers, Mr. Williams, that you believe that your sister and her husband are responsible for their car, and I'm going to give you your opportunity to tell me your theory of why, and then I'm going to ask your sister to do the same. Do you understand? Then I'm going to find out from Amarian why he thought it was appropriate to steal the truck in the first place.
Yes, ma'am.
So now you tell me why you don't think it's your responsibility.
Plain and simple. I left my in their care. There was the guardian that night.
Okay, so you left your son in the care of your sister and her husband.
Yes, ma'am.
On what date?
I don't know exactly. I don't remember the date.
Was it 2 days before?
No,
Does he live with them?
It was that night. I dropped him off that night because I had to go to work.
At night at what time?
Say about 6, 7. I'll drop him off.
And who did you hand him over to?
Lillian and Robert Toll.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, but he did not ask me. He just told me to stay here. I didn't have no problem with him because that is my nephew.
Just a minute. But you were there when he dropped him off? Okay. You have children of your own?
I have 4.
Okay, how old are they?
I have a 9, 8, 6, and a 2-year-old.
Does your 9-year-old play with Amarian?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he your friend?
Yes, ma'am.
What's his name?
Curtis.
Just for my own information, when you stole your cousin's truck, did you wake up your cousin, Curtis?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
I didn't want nobody to wake up.
You wanted to do it all on your own?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where were you sleeping that night?
In the room.
With whom?
My cousins.
Which cousin?
Everyone.
With all 4 children?
Yes, ma'am.
So all 4 children were sleeping in one room?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you got up to go outside to get the truck, what did you have to do?
I went in my aunt's room, got my cousin's keys.
The cars?
No, ma'am.
Were you in the process of bringing the truck back?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when this all first happened, you said it was some man who lied to everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you lying to me now?
No, ma'am.
Did you get punished for lying?
Yes, ma'am.
By whom?
My dad.
Perfect. Gave you a good talking to? Took away some privileges?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So this is my problem, Mr. Williams. In order for me to shift the responsibility to your sister, there has to be some indication of negligence on her part. She left the house open. She left the keys in his room. Something that she did, which it doesn't appear to me, anything that she could have done to prevent your son, who was hell-bent on taking that truck out for a joyride. He snuck into her room. He didn't wake up his 9-year-old cousin. He got the keys because he knew where they were. He went out the back door. He knew how to take out the stick because the house is secured so that people can't get in. So he knew how to take that out. And he's never done anything like this before, so she couldn't even anticipate that maybe he would do something so crazy. Has he ever done anything like that in your house?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Let me ask you this question, Mr. Williams. Do you ever let your son sit on your lap and drive your car?
No, ma'am. I don't own a vehicle.
Where do you think he learned how to drive?
That much I have no idea.
Don't look down. Look here. Where did you learn how to drive?
My mom's boyfriend.
Your mother's boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
Does he let you drive?
No, ma'am.
Does he put you on his lap so that you can drive when he's driving?
No, ma'am.
Well, how did he teach you how to drive?
He let me sit in the front seat and he showed me some things.
Okay. May I see an estimate, please, for the repair of your car? What kind of car was it, Ms. Funderburg?
It was a 2005 Honda Accord. I have the internal and the external damages for the vehicle. And I also have pictures, because my vehicle was not the only vehicle that was damaged. But I have pictures of the scene and what happened, and the car that he was driving flipped over. I mean, he's lucky to be alive. And the case also made news headlines. It was on that night. It was a really big deal in the town.
You understand that you can never do this again, right?
Yes, ma'am.
How many cars were involved?
It was 3 cars in all. My car that was parked, his mother's car that was also parked, and the car that he was driving was also, totaled.
Whose car is the Toyota Avalon?
His mother.
Do you have insurance?
Yes, but I only had liability. And I have proof that I didn't receive any money from my insurance company.
I'd like to see that. Anything else anybody wants to tell me? No?
I mean, I don't know what to say. Sorry that it happened to her. And I'm just glad that my son ain't gone, It hurt.
You're lucky you didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Right now, it's not their responsibility to clean up after your mess. On the night of the 27th of July, he was your mess.
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I was, in his mother's house sleep, and we heard crash after crash after crash.
I didn't see him until I got back to the house, and he was fine.
He ran outside, and we saw all the devastation that had happened.
That he didn't do it, and some other guy with a red shirt took it.
I mean, the car he was driving flipped over.
I looked at his clothes, looked and seen that his glasses was missing.
So he could have very well been hurt or killed, and
I kind of put 2 and 2 together.
I'm happy nothing happened and nobody was hurt in the situation.
Pay attention to your kids. You never know what goes on.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Morrow versus Wells. Step forward.
Misty Morrow is suing Tammy Wells for the return of a motorcycle for the money she put down on it.
Miss Morrow, you purchased a motorcycle from the defendant.
Yes.
Did you know her before the motorcycle advertised?
We had met in the bathroom.
Where?
It was in Taylorville, Illinois.
I know, but where? In a store, in a mall?
It was in a bathroom at a restaurant.
And how did the subject of motorcycle come up?
We were going to this thing that they do every year for motorcycles, me and my mom and my dad. And I met Tammy in the bathroom, and she said, hey, you know anybody that's looking for a motorcycle? And my mom said, my daughter is. And that's when we drew up the conversation about looking for a motorcycle.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
And I said, hey, Chris, Misty says that you came and got the bike in Springfield today. And he said, that's not true. He says, I've had the bike the whole time. And she said, he's lying. And I said, well, now she's saying you're lying. He goes, no, it's not true. I've had it the whole time.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Misty Morrow says Tammy Wells illegally repossessed a motorcycle she was selling her. Tammy claims Misty broke their agreement, and she is countersuing for her damages.
And when was that?
That was the end of May.
Of this year?
Yes.
Did you ultimately purchase the motorcycle?
I did.
And what was the purchase price?
It was $27.50.
Did you have a contract with her?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to. Okay, so this is a very comprehensive, notarized contract for the motorcycle.
Yes.
Was executed May 26th, 2015. Now, you repossessed the motorcycle, Miss Wells.
Yes, that's correct.
On what date?
July 29th.
She was supposed to make her first payment on June 25th.
That's correct.
Did she make that payment?
No, ma'am.
Your Honor, I have text messages of Miss Wells agreeing that because I had started a new job that I could make 2 payments the end of July. And
I'd like to see that.
Yes. And
just a second. Did you agree to give her extra time to pay for the motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am. I gave her extra time to pay the agreed amount of $700 on July 30th.
So what happened on the 29th?
On the 29th. Can we start on the 28th?
Okay. Just a second. So you agreed to give her until July 30th.
Right.
To make 2 payments, in total $700.
Well, actually 2 payments only totals $500, but she offered $700, and I said, well, okay, if you'd like to do that.
So that you agreed to?
Yes, ma'am.
Now what happened?
The 28th, we put a new battery in the motorcycle. She and Chris, her boyfriend at that time, came over to ride the bike.
Because the bike was kept at your house?
Yes, it was stored at my house. She asked me, or she actually told me, I'm going to take the bike tonight so I can ride it to work tomorrow. She works in Springfield. That's 42 miles away. And I said, oh, okay. Is it going to rain? And she says, I have a frog suit. And I said, okay. So they left. We went inside. The next morning, I sent her a text message. How did it go? Did you have a nice ride? Everything okay? She says, yes, a great morning. I had a wonderful ride. And I said, okay. So later in the afternoon, around 2 o'clock, I drove past a small shopping mall where I saw the bike sitting. Not in Springfield, Illinois, 42 miles away, only about 3 miles from my house. So I thought, hey, Misty, where are you? Called her and everything. I'm at work. Oh, well, I just stumbled onto the bike. And she said, oh, Chris came and got it from Springfield, and he's using it right now. And I said, well, I'm looking for Chris then. So I bump into Chris. I find him at the mall, and I said, hey, Chris, Misty says that you came and got the bike in Springfield today. And he said, well, that's not true. I go, what do you mean it's not true? He says, I've had the bike the whole time, since last night. And I said, Misty, he says he has had the bike the whole time. And she said, what? And I said, he says he's had the bike the whole time. He didn't come to Springfield. And she said, he's lying. And I said, well, now she's saying you're lying. He goes, no, it's not true. I've had it the whole time. So I checked the mileage.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You said there are too many control issues, and to be honest, I'm afraid of you, so please take the key and the bike.
That is correct.
So,
because I was afraid that...
But you told her to take the bike.
I did tell her.
So why are we here?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Misty Morrow says Tammy Wells illegally repossessed a motorcycle she was selling her. Tammy claims Misty broke their agreement, and she is countersuing for her damages.
Now, at that point, you didn't give her the bike back.
No, what happened at that point is I said, we need to talk, because the contract clearly states that communication is essential.
No, the contract is a very specific contract, and it doesn't even say that nobody else can ride the bike.
That's true, except for the lien holder part of the insurance. Anyway,
the contract does not preclude anyone else from riding her bike because the title was transferred to her. So it's just as if she bought a car and took out a bank loan.
I didn't.
She put down a deposit, and she was paying you, and you agreed to give her until the 30th of July to make a double payment. So I'm still trying to figure out how to have the bike.
No, she told me to take the bike. I have proof.
Okay. She said to take the bike.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it.
The gray part. But she told me twice to take it.
Well, she's right. She said there are too many control issues, and to be honest, I'm afraid of you, so please take the key and the bike, and that be what it is. Mm-hmm. That's what you told her to do.
That is correct.
So,
because I was afraid, and I was tired of the issues going on, me having to call her, tell her where I was going. I was afraid that...
But you told her to take the bike.
I did tell her. So, I said, just go ahead and take the bike.
So why are we here?
And then after
why are we here?
Because after we had discussed, and I have text messages, we discussed a settlement because there was nothing to be settled. The police told me that I had to
Don't tell me what the police told you.
Okay.
Right now, you've had the bike and the use of the bike for 2 months.
No, I did not have the bike.
You've had the use of the bike for 2 months, from May 26th to July 29th. And you told her to take back the bike. Now, you say that there's something that happened after that?
Yes.
Well, then show me.
On July, I believe this was July 30th, we had talked on the phone, and...
You mean after you told her to take the bike?
Yes, correct.
So you talked
with 3 agreements that would settle because she had said I have control issues, and I think we're better as friends than we are as business partners. So I came up with 3 options, and the 3 options were: 1, get possession of the bike and continue making payments. Number 2, cancel the contract, give me a total of $750, or 3, go to court. She said I don't agree with 1 and 2, so that left us coming to court.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook. And follow us on Twitter.
Okay. Where is the bike now?
In my possession.
You have the title?
Yes.
I'd like the title, please. Thank you. Okay. Miss Morrow, you want to sign the title back over to Miss Wells, please?
There you go.
I have a counterclaim, sir.
It's going to be dismissed. And Miss Wells, you now have back the motorcycle, and I'm awarding the plaintiff $500, half of her deposit back, because I believe that you didn't really have the right to take back the motorcycle when you did. She wants her whole deposit back, but she actually used the motorcycle for 2 months, both she and her boyfriend. So I think that that's only fair. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $500. Counterclaims dismissed. That's all.
Excuse, you may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
This big dog ran across the street and grabbed my dog.
Her dog?
Yeah. My dog was bleeding seriously, and what looked like internal organs were coming out.
Next Judge Judy.
When I found the motorcycle where it wasn't supposed to be, I was like, well, Misty's here. I can shop with her in the shopping mall. And
well, it wasn't in my possession. It was at Tammy's house, so I still had to.
No, she wasn't there. It was in the possession of somebody else. And
go back and forth, call her, ask to use the bike, so.
I thought, well, you know, that's kind of just not right. When it's yours, you can do whatever you want with it.
She had a control issue, and she never wanted to sell the bike, so.
But until then, you kind of can't do that. It's still mine until you paid for it completely.
It was just